We often tend to assume that our perception of the world is a faithful reflection of objective external reality. In fact, this is not true at all. Visual illusions provide vivid examples of how our perception is actually constructed by our brain, and not always accurately. In fact, our brain will even create information when we have none. A great example of this is the filling in of the blind spot. The blind spot exists because there's a portion of each retina where the axons from the neurons go to the brain, the optic nerve. And in this spot, there are no photoreceptors. So the eye has no way to respond to light from a particular point in space, and that information never gets sent to the brain. Now, as long as both of our eyes are open, the brain will have information about the blind spot in one eye from the other eye. But what if we close one eye? We certainly don't see a dark spot or blank spot in our visual field. It turns out the brain is just guessing at what's there based on the area around it. You can illustrate this by closing your left eye, holding both thumbs out in front of you. Now look at your left thumb and slowly move your right hand to the right, like this, keeping your eye fixed on your left thumb. Yeah, there it is. At some point, the right thumb in your peripheral vision will seem to just disappear. You can also do this experiment using a piece of paper with two dots about 6 inches apart. Start with the paper close to your face and your left eye closed. Look at the dot on the left and slowly move the paper away from your face. At some point, you won't be able to see the dot on that right side anymore. The dot will be in your blind spot, and your brain will fill in that area to match the surrounding white paper. Another example of this is how lighting conditions, or our internal assumptions about lighting conditions, can affect our perception of contrast and color. Here, the square that looks like it's in shadow appears to be a lighter shade than the one in the light, but in fact, they're the exact same color. Here's a color version of that same illusion, where the two tiles on differently illuminated sides of the cube appear to be different colors, but are actually the same. Bo Lotto, who created this particular illusion, has a whole TED Talk on illusions, which I'll link in the resources section. A similar effect may explain the different color perceptions people experienced for the dress. Your brain is making assumptions about the lighting conditions of the photograph, backlit or front-lit, yellowish outdoor light or bluish indoor light, and interpreting the light reflected off of the image accordingly. But not all color illusions depend on perceived lighting conditions. Some just depend on which other colors are nearby in the image. For example, in this image, there appears to be one blue spiral and one green spiral, but in fact, they're the same color, a bluish-green, paired with either pink or orange stripes. Under other circumstances, a color may be perceived to spread onto the surrounding area, as in this illusion by David Novak. The spheres appear to be tinted red, blue, and green, but are actually all of the same neutral hue, with different color stripes on top. Not all illusions are based on the perception of shade or color. For example, this line length illusion. This is a classic illusion dating back to the late 1800s, the Mueller-Lyer illusion, in which the middle line appears to be longer due to the positioning of the flanking lines, when in fact all three are the exact same length. Not all illusions are based on color or light perception. There are also illusions involving motion or ambiguous stimuli that cause the brain to jump back and forth between alternating perceptions. Illusions are a really powerful way to illustrate the idea that there's this intermediate thing, your brain and how it processes information, in between the world and our experience of it. I'll post the links to the illusions that I showed in this video and some others that you might want to show your class in the resources section of the course.